You ever wake up on a Saturday expecting nothing but a cup of coffee and a little peace by the lake and end up running a full-blown sting operation out of your own living room? No. Just me then. Well, let me tell you something. If you've never had a 17-year-old in a designer hoodie tell you that your cabin is now the property of the HOA, congratulations, you still have hope for humanity. There he was, mirrored shades vape tucked behind his ear, acting like the world owed him something. And me, I'm standing there in my pajamas, mug in hand, trying to process if this kid is actually serious or just rehearsing for the world's worst TikTok. But you know what they say, arrogance like that doesn't grow wild, it's cultivated, nurtured, usually by someone with a name like Grace Moore, who just so happens to run this entire neighborhood, and if you think I'm exaggerating, just wait. See, I'm Brian Nelson, Chief of Police, not just some schmo in a flannel shirt trying to dodge HOA bake sale flyers. I came out to Crystal Pines for a little quiet, a slice of that American Dream Deck dock, early mornings with nothing but birdsong and fog over the water. But peace is a slippery thing when your neighbor's got a copy of Robert's Rules of Order and a pink blazer sharp enough to cut glass. First sign of trouble. Not the kid. Oh no, the real trouble comes in the mail. Fancy letterhead gold logo. Enough bold fonts to give you a headache before you even finish the first line. Notice of property non-compliance. Apparently my cedar brown paint job offended the HOA gods. Suggested colors included lake sand pebble mist or wait for it tranquil taupe. Nothing says freedom like taupe. I called the HOA office thinking it was a mix-up. Lady on the phone practically whispered, "Just tell Mrs. Moore you called." 2 hours later, I get a call from the Queen herself. Grace Moore, president of everything you can see, including apparently my sanity. She tells me the HOA lines were updated last year. You're under our jurisdiction now. I tell her as politely as I can muster that I bought this cabin specifically to avoid her jurisdiction. She laughs. Not a real laugh, just the sound rich folks make when they're deciding whether to eat you for breakfast or brunch. Next couple of months, I watch her reign in action. She finds retirees for wind chimes. She threatens a single mom over a garden gnome. She bans outdoor grills, then throws herself a barbecue on her own lawn. All smiles, all velvet gloves until she needs the iron fist. She runs everything from the beautification fund to who gets to be on the HOA board. When her kid Ethan strutted onto my porch claiming my cabin for the community, I knew he wasn't just a cocky teenager, he was in training. 3 days later, the email arrives. Community Event Access Request. Approved by HOA. My lakeside cabin was being requisitioned for a graduation party. Please ensure the property is unlocked by Friday 5 p.m. I'll tell you, I haven't been that close to spitting coffee since my rookie days on the force. So I do what any reasonable man does. I take a drive to the county records office. No uniform, just a regular guy asking for the zoning maps. The clerk tells me flat out, "Your cabin's not part of that HOA. The border ends at Ridge Creek Road." I laugh. Of course it does. But some people, I explain to him, think authority grows like mold quietly everywhere and almost impossible to get rid of. Grace calls again. This time her voice is all honey and razors. Wants to confirm that I've received her event notice. I confirm that I won't be unlocking my property for anyone. The HOA has communal rights under revised zoning ordinances, she snaps. I cut her off. Your authority ends half a mile east of my dock. She gets frosty. You may want to rethink your tone, Mr. Nelson. We can issue fines, revoke access, I interrupt. Ma'am, you can't revoke what was never yours. For a moment, it's silent. I can practically hear her grinding her teeth. Now here's a little cop secret. You don't start a war with people like Grace Moore. You just start watching. So I install cameras. Quiet ones. I copy my deed, laminate it, keep it on hand. And I dig into the HOA's books, public records, all above board. Turns out Grace's community youth engagement initiative was less of an initiative and more of a $12,000 magic trick. Ask around, no one's ever heard of it. Couple days later, Grace herself shows up, pearl earrings, clipboard, a perfume cloud you could see from space. Ethan in tow, grinning like he's just inherited Rome. She tries to clarify that the event will go on as planned. I ask allocated from which account, the same one as your youth initiative. She doesn't like that. Her smile wobbles. Morale improvement, she mumbles, then snaps her clipboard shut. Don't make this harder than it needs to be, she says. You're the one making it harder, I reply, sipping my coffee king of my own little dock. If she wanted a party, I'd give her one. I call my buddy Rodriguez Sheriff's Office. Might need a few off-duty patrols out here this weekend, I say. Possible unauthorized gathering, underage drinking, trespassing, the usual. He laughs. You finally poking the HOA bear, huh? Not yet, I tell him. Just setting the table. The day before the party, my cameras catch Ethan and friends parading around my dock with a drone taking selfies in my late father's fishing hat. Caption #LakeLife, #HOA party prep. That stings. But I'm patient. That's what builds leverage. Patience and a stack of evidence. The day of the party, Grace pushes the delusion into overdrive, full-color newsletters, emails. Flyers thanking supportive homeowners for letting the HOA use the lakeside cabin. There's even a photo of my boat, my chairs, my life now, community property. I start to laugh. This isn't arrogance, it's fantasy. Night of the party, kids start rolling in beer pong tables delivered to my address. Grace called to confirm. Speakers, coolers, fireworks, the works. Ethan's got my dad's hat on backward, shouting, "This is our lake now! HOA rules!" Baby. Grace arrives in her Escalade pink blazer champagne flute. She waves at me from the crowd. "Thank you for letting us use your beautiful property." "Mr. Nelson." I hold up my phone. "Don't worry, I'm recording every word." Her smile twitches. The music is blaring, kids are drinking, somebody pukes near my grill. Time for curtain up. Rodriguez radios in, units in position. "You want the lights yet?" "Not yet," I tell him. "Let the queen crown herself." 15 minutes later, Grace tipsy stomps up to my porch, insists I stop filming. "This is community property tonight. You sure about that?" I ask. "Because I just confirmed with the county assessor this address is 100% mine." She blinks, lost. "Don't make me call the police," she hisses. "Ma'am, that's the best idea you've had all night." So I go inside, put on my navy jacket, clip my badge, step out on the porch. The crowd freezes. Grace drops her glass. "Everyone here is trespassing on private property. Anyone under 21 with alcohol, step aside. The rest of you prepare to be ID'd. Ethan stammers. "Wait, you're a cop." "Chief of police," I reply. "And you're about to have a very educational night." Sirens' wail lights flash blue and red over the lake. Deputies pour in flashlights, catching every open beer can and deflated swan. Rodriguez nods. "Chief." "Deputy." Grace, for the first time, looks like she finally gets it. "Brian Nelson, this is an abuse of power. You mean the kids drinking stolen alcohol and destroying my property? The HOA authorized. I cut her off. You are the HOA, Grace. You authorized yourself." When Deputy Carter brings me the catering invoice, $3,200, signed by Grace, paid from the HOA account, it's over. Her son tries to bolt. Rodriguez catches him. "Ethan Moore, you're being detained for trespassing, property damage, and possession of alcohol as a minor." Ethan whines, "You can't arrest me, my mom's in charge." He needs to learn what accountability looks like, and so do you, I say to Grace. By midnight, the yard's empty. Beer spilled, fireworks burnt out, the calm returned. Grace is arrested, mugshot in the news by morning. The whole community wakes up to a new world, one where the queen of the HOA is just another headline. Now here's where life gets poetic. The new HOA president, Helen Graves, a retired accountant with the moral backbone of a church bell, starts an audit. Turns out Grace's idea of beautification included checks written to herself, luxury handbags, even her son's car insurance. When all's counted, it's almost $49,000 missing. Illegal but bold, I tell Helen. They vote unanimously to press charges. Grace's husband, Robert, files for divorce and hands over evidence of her secret accounts. Her son, Ethan, starts volunteering at a youth center running cleanup days on the lake. Even Grace herself writes a letter from prison apologizing not just to me, but to the community, the lake, even to Helen. Says she feels more useful running laundry in prison than she ever did running an HOA. The final cherry on the Justice Sunday. The Nelson Integrity Grant, a community award funding projects that promote honesty and safety. My name on a plaque of all things. I laugh every time I see it. And yet here's the thing, nobody tells you about justice. It's not about vengeance or getting the last word. It's about setting things right, giving people a chance to start over. I sit on my dock most evenings now, coffee in hand, watching the sun set and thinking about the balance of things. Sometimes peace is earned the hard way. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't enjoy a little karma too. Grace Moore built a kingdom on rules and control, forgot somewhere along the way that community isn't about power, it's about respect. Her fall wasn't just a lesson for her son or the board, it was for all of us. Sometimes the law whispers, sometimes it roars. But when it finally arrives, it doesn't care how expensive your SUV is or how many pearls you've got around your neck. So now Crystal Pines is different. Not perfect, but honest. The fences still match, the lawns still shine, but the real order comes from people finally talking to each other. No more hiding behind bylaws, no more fear. And if you're wondering what happened to me, I'm still here. Still sipping coffee. Still keeping an eye on things. Maybe not crusading, but definitely not letting anyone forget how quickly a place can change when someone finally stands up and says enough. So let me throw this out to you. Where do you draw the line between order and control? When does leadership cross over into tyranny? And if you were me, would you have done it any differently? Tell me in the comments. Because this story might be over, but the fight for little justice in this world, that's everyone's story.
Cảm ơn các bạn đã xem video.